Welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time, I'm going to tell you welcome. So you landed to a channel where we actually do create dashboards using Excel and Power BI. So previously we have actually created this particular dashboard you have on your screen. It's actually on my channel. You can take a look at it, including this very one right here. So get the data and let us do everything from the scratch. So currently we're going to be creating this very one you have on your screen right now. In case you have actually created the previous ones, then you can actually start from here. And if you think you want to start from here without creating the previous one, so be it. So I'm going to explain everything from A to Z for you. So stay tuned. All right, let us go ahead and actually add a new page by clicking on this plus sign right here. So we have a new page inserted. Let's go back to customers. So if you have actually created this with us before, you don't have to actually bother about that. So otherwise you will need to go and get this done. Or I can show you, don't worry, you can stay. I'll show you the measures that actually powers this, then you create it, because you don't have to create the previous ones to have this one achieved. So go ahead and Ctrl+C to copy this. And I will come over to this particular page one here. I'm going to paste it down here. So right now we cannot see things clearly because the KPI already is on a white background. So, and we just actually pasted it on white. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use a temporary background. By clicking on view, you can actually access this one, then go over to this here and choose this black one for the time being. Okay, for the very first time, what I want to show you now is this. What powers this value you have right here? So I will select it. I don't select anything right now. So I'll go over to filters. I received a lot of questions that my values are different than your own. So why? So this is where the problem is. Most of you jumped my, some sections or my class. So you feel like you can do this and you jumped it, and there are some information hidden that you have not known. So over here, if you look at filter on all pages, if I open it up right here, you can see I have how many years of data? 5 years of data. I only chose the top 2, right? That is 2022 and 2023. So they are checked. This is what you should do as well. What happens if I actually include this? Look at this value. If I include this, look at the value, 71 million is for the revenue right now. If I now include this, I have just small changes, right? So if I deselect it, look at what happens. So I only choose the 2 years. That is what you need to understand for the first time before we actually kickstart on our creation. All right, we have this. I don't actually need all of this here. The only thing I need right now is revenue. I want to get off this particular average revenue and customers away from here and just replace one of them with transaction. To do that now, you click over here, you take off numbers of customers, and you click over this particular part of this one here, then click on it, and we search and we take transaction. Okay, we have our total transaction here, which is beautiful. I can just make sure I do this something like this. All right, with this now, the next thing I want to show you is to look at what powers this. Go over to calculations. Everything is actually on different folders. If I go to this folder here, I can see total revenue. So with my total revenue, it's just some kind of simple, calculation here. We're using some X over this particular table and a related table to pull value from the unit or from drug lookup and do the multiplication, which is something very simple. So over to numbers of transaction here, we are just doing the controls of our fact table or the transactional table. That is all we have done here. Very simple, right? Okay, now I told you this is the most simplest part of the dashboard we had been creating. Next right now is to actually break our revenue down by what? By years. So what I will do now is just to bring in my total revenue. Now it's going to be on a card like this. Very simple, and it appears to be just like what we have right here. Let us look at it on a table format first. Then we can actually break this down by going to calendar. We pick the year. If you look at it, we only have the 2 years that we allowed over here. That was why you have to understand the difference between filter on all pages, filter on this page, and filter on this visual. So filter on all pages affect all the pages. Filter on this visual affect only the visual selected when you apply that filter, while filter on this page would affect the current page you are. What we are using now here is actually filter on all pages. So it will definitely affect whatever we pulled in right here. So with this now, this is not an ideal visual to use to get this done. What if I go ahead and use a line chart? So my line chart would look like this, right? I want to have something a little bit different, just like an area chart that looks like this, but I don't want to use an area chart. I can still go with this line chart here. So what I'll quickly do now is to format my line chart to look, okay, I'll go over here and say I want to turn off the value, which is not an ideal. I can leave the value, sorry. I think I should go with the y-axis. For my y-axis, I want to turn off the title and as well the value. I would have something as clean as this. So once I've done that, the next thing is for you to go to the line. So clicking on the line, we scroll all the way down. You can now see where we have shade areas. So once you turn it on, you're going to have something like this. That looks just like the area chart we have right here. So it's your choice. If you want to choose area chart, you can do that. So for now, I can just make this a bit smaller right here. So once I've done this, I can actually copy it, Ctrl-C to copy and Ctrl-V to paste it down. I'll drag this one over here. I'm going to stretch this, right? Once I have it stretched, I will click over here and just change what I have in here. Instead of we looking at it based on year, we want to go based on quarter. So we have it based on quarter now. So for based on quarter, I will go down and change my mind. I'll take off this particular one. I don't want to have it. I just want to have the line chart, right? So this quarter is not displayed the way I want it. I want it to start from quarter 1, 2, and quarter 3. So what is actually, giving us this vibe here? So we should have it start from quarter 1. This did not work. What we're going to do is that we have to start to create this from the scratch if it doesn't work. So I have it deleted and I will go to a line chart. Under this line chart here, what I'm going to do for the first time is to bring in my calendar and bring in the quarter. So I have the quarter here, does not show up yet. So let's go to calculations and bring in our total revenue into it. This time around, it has worked. So don't ask me why didn't it work over here. We've just fixed it. But the problem is this. Maybe it was because we copied here and we placed it over here. Okay, once we have done this, I'm going to leave it this way and focus on a different part. Then later after all, we can clean it up. Or still, what if we click on this one here and we go over here and we just do something like this? What should happen? Okay, now it has done the cleaning for us, but unfortunately, we don't want to use this particular shade area. So we want to go down straight up to this particular part right here and take it off. All we want is a line, something like this. So on the line, you can click on it and choose the kind of line you want to see. So if we come over here, we're using linear, I can just go to a smooth line. So that will give me this kind of vibe. This is what I want, right? Okay, now we are good to go. We are done with what we want to have above here. Let's go down and see what we can do on a monthly basis. On a monthly basis, right now, what if we go ahead and copy this and we go down and have it pasted somewhere around here, then we can stretch it out a little bit. And instead of us to be breaking this down by quarter, we can actually break it down by month. So click over here and change it to month. So already our month had been sorted by January to December, which is absolutely very okay. So we can just do this. So if we look at it now, the x-axis has a title. We just go to our x and we just take off the title it has. So don't worry, later after all, we will fix the whole thing. Then what is going on here? The title here that we have at this particular part, we don't want it because we're going to create something different. Okay, once we have gotten this, the next thing now is that we want to look at the month over month change, and we want to use another chart to overlap this one and show that particular insight to people. So what is next? We need to create a measure that would help us to show the month over month change if we are going up or if we are going down, something positive or negative. The next part right now is for we to create a chart that shows the changes between one month to the other right here. We want to see growth month over month, right? So the very first thing you have to do is to create this particular DAX, which actually tells you the previous month revenue. This is not what we want. We want to actually add a new measure right now that actually helps us to create the percentage of month over month change, which is something very simple. It's not complicated at all. To get that done, all we have to do is to create a new measure. So in this new measure, I'm going to call it month over month change, just doing the shortcut month over month change like this. I'm going to put my equal sign here and we use the divide function. So what are we doing? We are dividing the total revenue. So first of all, we take the total revenue. First off, we take the total revenue, we subtract the previous month revenue from it. Then we do the division by this. So previous month. So if you want to handle division by 0, you can always put comma and you do 0. And now we go ahead and hit the enter key. So this has actually done the work for us. So next is for we to some kind of convert this into a percentage. And as well, we only want to see one decimal place. So right here, we have 2 in here. What do? We just go ahead and put 1 over there, hit the enter key. That would actually update it for you. Okay, we are good to go. The next thing we have to do right now is to make use of it. Let us go ahead and copy this one we have here and just make a single change to achieve what we want. So I have this here. If I click over here right now, I can go to the part of my revenue. And that is the part I want to update. This part here, I will change it to month over month change. Let us look for month over month change here. I think we have it already here. But it looks somehow weird. That was because the chart I've chosen to use this with is not a chart we should use it with. So let us go with this particular clustered column chart here. But still, we do not have what we really want. So I want to take a look at this in a table format. I do not have to convert it to a table. Just right click and go ahead and just click on show a table in a table format here. Then we have something like this. Can you look at this? January actually occupied a lot of, percentages. So that was why this one is coming out very small. So what do we do? How do we solve this situation? It's very simple. Let's go and do it. So before I go off this particular view, I would click over my month over month change. And over here above it, I will just do shift enter. I'll start with the if function. So I'm going to say if. So what are we doing now? We are trying to check the selected value. If it is equal to January, we want to take it off from what? From the list. So if selected value here. So we do calendar. We search for the month that is in view. We close it if it is equals to January. So January. So we go ahead and close it. Now, if you look at it, this particular one has to be typed with care. If you're using the full January, you would have to do it in the full format as well. So if that is true, comma, what do we want to see? If it is true that it is January, because right now, January is actually occupying a lot of percentages. We want to take it off from the list. Then we do give us blank. Otherwise, go ahead and run the remaining code. Go ahead and run this particular code for us. So once we have done that, shift, enter, we go ahead and close. Then what we need to do right now is to just come over here, tab key to indent it. It's just for we to create some kind of visual design for our code. Then it will be very much, interesting to look at. Okay, we have done that. As you can see, we have actually omitted it from the list and it has corrected this. It will be here on this view, but it's not part of what is displaying what we are seeing right here, right now. So we have gotten exactly what we want here. So we can just leave. And if we go over here now, we have this. It is time for we to control this with color. This is where we have to actually go to the line. The column. Under the column here, so we can play with the color over here. If I go over to this particular part, you can use rule to do it, or you can use any means to actually have this done. So you just choose what you want. So over here now, if I should select this basic color and make a change of the color to any of this color, it will actually affect everything. So for that, what we are going to do is for we to use a measure to determine what color we have for a particular bars, which if it is negative, we want to have this. If it is positive, we want to have this. So let us go ahead and actually insert a new measure. So on this new measure, I'm going to call it CF. So CF means conditional formatting. So CF conditional formatting, month over month change. So I just do equals. So what I'll do now is just to say if the month over month change itself here. So if the month over month change is greater than 0, you can use red and green to determine the color, but I already have my color code ready with me. I'm going to use the color code I want to use. So inside double quotes here, I can actually go over to this particular part right now. Then we locate the column. So from the column, we select what? We select this particular FX here. We change from rows to value and CF, conditional formatting for month over month. We click on OK, and here we go. So you can see when we have negative value, we want to see something that looks like this. And for the positive one, this is what we want to see as the change. So as you can see, it does not make sense for we to have this particular month or this x-axis. So we want to use the x-axis we have on the monthly level to control it. What we can do now is to go over to where? Go over to the x-axis in the format. The value should be turned off. You have something like this. So once you have something like this, the next thing is for you to just do this. You can bring it down to make sure you are setting it up appropriately. So here we go. We have something like this. I can do this and open it up here. Do you see the magic we've done now? This is exactly what you should actually be doing. So now we have created this. It's now giving us what we want. But the next thing right now is that, this looks cool. What if we go ahead and turn on the data label we have? So something like this would be perfect, like very perfect. Open it up, increase the value a little bit to show up very well. So we go down. So we can now just, let's change this to something bolder. I think. All right. This looks exactly cool out of that. The first thing we're going to create right here is a clustered bar chart, which is something like this. So I'll bring it over to this particular part here. I'm going to actually make sure it occupies this place. So what we want to display is actually the week day revenue. Like going over to here, I'm going to bring in my revenue in here. In case you can't find the revenue quickly, just go ahead and search for total. It's going to give it to you and you bring it right in here. So the next thing again is to make a search for weekday and you have your weekday in here. And this is what we want. So once you are done, you can have this one hidden and actually go ahead and clean up what you have here. So there are some kind of little mess. We just need to turn off the title. Then we scroll back up again and quickly we turn this off totally. Body title and as well the values should be turned off. So we have something like this, right? So for this particular part here, we don't really want it at all, which is the main title itself. We have to turn it off. So if you look at it, there are no much context. You can add context to this chart you have right here and it will give you more or something beyond just displaying this like this. So the only thing you can actually add on this right now is for you to add the data label, which is not really bad at all. It's cool. But let me show you something. This particular sales metric dashboard is actually on our channel right now. So you can actually go ahead and take a look at it. So we are doing the same thing I have just done right away, but this particular one has more context than what we have just done. If I actually click on it right now, what you see is this. So you can see we have some percentages right here. So if this is the percentage of week over week change. Now between Sunday and Saturday, we have increase of what? Of 8.2%. Between Monday and Sunday, we have decrease of what? Of 28.1%. If you look at it right now, on Sunday, we have 192,000, while Monday is actually 138,000, which means we actually made a lower, revenue compared to that of Sunday. So you can add this kind of context. So if you're looking forward to learning something like this to actually, buttress more on what you are showing on the bars or on the chart, it's actually called Power BI Makeover. That is the title. So search for it, you would see it, and you can learn from there. All right, we are back right here. For the first time, this is what we want. And next after this, we want to create a heat map. So I'm going to move this one over here for the time being. We will take it and actually, edit it. But for the time being, I'm going to keep this right here. Or still, I can Ctrl+C, Ctrl+V to paste a new one here, and I'll bring this over here. When this one comes in here, I'm going to use this kind of chart. We'll call it metrics. It's a table. So we go with this particular table. So what do we want to do? We want to create a heat map. For this, we want to create a heat map. So already we have our weekdays in here. So what we want to do right now, we're going to go into this particular table. So we are going to search for drugs. Or let's go into the table individually. We have the drug lookup table, then we have the drug name. So the drug name is here. We have more than 5 drugs. But what we want to display is just 5 drugs. And those 5 drugs should be the 5 top selling drugs based on weekdays. We want to see which particular weekdays are they actually moving most. That is exactly what we want to show right now. Okay, so in case you don't have something similar to mine, if I click over here right now, you can see that the weekday is on the rows and the column takes the drug name. So across the column is drug name. Let us open up this particular part here. Over here, you can see the drug name. Click on this. So instead of us to use the basic filtering here, we click on the basic filtering and we change it to top N that we have there. So we tell you that, okay, we want to see the top 5. That is the only thing we want to see. So once we have done that, we can come over here and search for total revenue and drag our total revenue into here. So this is what we call visual filter, right? Then we'll go ahead and apply. So once we have applied this, it's only giving us based on what? On the top 5 we have actually selected. So we can go ahead and hide this one. It's hidden. Okay, if you look at it now, over here, we have total, and then we have the grand total. We do not want to show the total, neither if we want to show the grand total. We don't want any of that. So what do? We come over to this particular part here, And you can see if you scroll down, you see here we have the column subtotal. We have taken it off. Then the subtotal for our rows, we actually turn it off. Now everything is gone. So what is next? Let's go back up. We have the grade here. Under here, we can turn on this particular horizontal grade line and the vertical grade line. So we open both of them up. So once we have done this, we can go over here and make sure this one is giving us 10. This one as well, we want to have 10 over here. So we now have something like this, right? So once we have something like this, this is cool. Remember, we have not yet agreed on the color we're going to use. For the time being, we are going to go with something like this first. Okay. The next thing we have to do right now is for we to see how we can actually increase the values we have right here. Is very, very important. So let us go all the way up again, have this closed. Then for the value, we're going to do 13. So you can see 13 looks sharp, right? For the row header, let's go over here, the row header. Let's do the same thing. Okay, we can do 12 for the row header. This looks perfect. So we open this up and we are going to move this here and have it opened until we see all the values here, right? So let's go ahead and select this one here. We change the font to be something like this. Okay, let's do this bold one. Okay, I think the first one would look perfect. Let's go with the lighter version of it. So the lighter version of it would look very perfect, right? That is the column header. So what about the rows? For the rows right now, we are going to go over to the rows. The rows here, we do 13. That is for this one here. It pops it out very well. This is what we want exactly, right? So we can just go ahead and bring this down. We have created the effect we want to create. So for the time being now, it's not making a lot of sense. We don't want to have anything to do with the values. We just want to create some kind of a heat map that we can use color to tell when our revenue becomes high on those weekdays we have right here on every single top 5 of the drugs we sell, right? To get that done, we would need to go down. So I'm just going to use the default color for this time around. So if we go down, we have specific column. That is not where we want to go. We can go to cell elements. Under cell elements here, we only have this, which is total revenue. So we're going to go with that. First of all, we turn on the background. It gives us something like this. We can turn on the font color and it will actually make the values to disappear, right? We can define what we want to see, but I think with this default one, we are good to go. So it tells us that this one has the highest revenue on Sunday. So you can see, you can make a trace of everything you have here. So if I select a particular month, for example, if I go with August here, so August will filter for me this table. And over here in August, you can see this color is bright, this one here. And where you have the color not to be as this here, that means we have low revenue coming from there. This is exactly what we want to create. But for now, we're going to go with this color. Later, after all, we will change what we have. All right, we need to create some legends to actually show what we have these colors for, that will display what each and every one of the colors stands for. So to actually get that done now, we have to decide on which color we are going to use for the metrics we have right here. or for the heat map we are trying to create. So it's of no difference from what we have done before. Over here, we are going to be on the cell element. So once we get to cell element, the very first thing we have to do is to go into this FX here and change the color by going to the lowest value here. So we'll change the color we want to use. I'm going to use the color code to get this done. And the color code now is going to be 5F4. So 5F4C68. So something like this. So we go to the minimum area here and we click on this more color. So this time around is FCA0E0 here. So we're going to go with this to be the highest one. So we are good to go. We click on OK. So this is what we have right now. What we have gotten now is what we're going to do to this particular part here, because we want to have this one here hidden, which is the numbers we have here hidden. So we cannot go ahead and do this. It will actually show up the numbers very well. The only way we can use to get it hidden now is clicking on the FX and repeat the same thing we have done. Unfortunately, we cannot find the color on the recent used here. So we're going to repeat the same thing by doing 5F4. Then we do C68 like this. Then we go over to this particular one and we'll repeat the same thing using the appropriate color for it. So this one is going to be FCA, then FCA0E0, something like this. We have to be very careful when we're doing this. You mustn't mix the color code, otherwise to give you something different. So finally, we have gotten this hidden, right? So now that we have gotten this hidden, for the remaining part, because we've not actually concluded on the color we're going to use for a dashboard, we would actually still make this one polished later. We can go with this right now. So now we can actually create our legend. For the legend here, what we're going to do is to go over to Insert. From Insert, we click on this particular button here. Shape rather. I will go ahead and go with this particular kind of shape. So here we go, something like this. I can make this shape a bit smaller. This would look perfectly okay. So I'm going to keep this shape over here. I'll keep this shape over somewhere around here. Then go over to this particular part where it says style. So when we click on style, we have the border. I will turn off the border. I will go to the fill. And from here, I'm going to change the color. So we have to match the color to this particular color we have right here. So we're trying to show the highest one. For the highest one, the color is not available here. The easiest way to copy the highest one now is to go over here now and click on the color code we have used in case you want to get it. So the highest one is here. You go ahead and copy. Then we do this. Cancel it. Then click over this one here. Then let's go over here. We paste it in here. So this one shows you the highest color, right? So once we have gotten this highest one, we can just go ahead and actually Ctrl+C, Ctrl+V to paste it. Then we bring this over somewhere around here. We change its color. So we can just go over to this more color. This time around, I can decide to get my other color from here by selecting this side that looks a bit darker. This is going to be the medium, the low, and we have the very low. This one will be the low. So this one will be the low. So Ctrl+V to paste a new one again. I'll move this one to this side. So this would depict very low. So for very low, I would urge you to still go through this particular place because we have the color code right here used. More, then we copy. So we can click on this one here. So you can see. So this is actually high, low, and very low. For this one, I would love to go back here, go to more, and make sure it's a bit brighter than what we have before. So find the area. So perfectly done. So we have created Lengend for this. It's very important for we to actually guide people on what every single part of it is all about. So once we have done this, the next thing we're going to do right now is to go all the way to insert and click on this particular text box. So on the text box here, we're going to type in here, hi. So Ctrl A and select it. Let's go with 12. This looks perfect. So we keep our hi over here. So Ctrl C, Ctrl V to paste it in. And that Ctrl V again. Remove this over here. This one should be stretched a little bit. This should be very low. This one should be low. So this one should be low. So here we go. So we have gotten those legends created. The next thing I'm going to do now is to actually have them highlighted like this, right? Once I have gotten them highlighted, I want to actually go ahead and actually some kind of create a group. So I would right click and click on group. I'm going to group it. So they have been grouped together right here because the magic would happen when we start hiding and showing this again. Okay, so I would actually paste what I've copied before over here right now. This time around, I would want to do a title. So the title here would be Weekday Earning and what? And top 5 drugs. Let's go with 18. Perfectly done. 18 looks cool. This will be somewhere around this side. All right. I'm going to copy and paste that one in. On the same spot here, or I can keep this over here. This one would actually be weekday earning, just weekday revenue by weekday. So revenue by weekdays, like this. And it will come on top of this one here, right? So next now is for me to go over here, this plus part, and I will go down and have this activated now. That is bookmark and selection activated. Do you see that? Once I've done that, I can take this off and go to this particular part where it says selection. For my selection, if I turn off this one, it shows me, weekdays earning and top 5, right? Then if I turn off this one, nothing happened, but it's still there. What I'll do now, let's turn this off and turn this off, which means both of them are my, title. So I'm going to turn off this one. What is active right now is actually weekday. So I will name this one by double clicking on this particular part here. I will name it some kind of weekday revenue, right? On this one here, I will give it a specific name, heatmap. Heatmap. So both of them, I am going to hold my control key to select them. They have been selected now. Right click and click on group, have them grouped. Then I'm going to name them title. Title. So in the group, if I turn off this one, everything is being turned off. If I turn it on, then both of them will come live. So you can open it up right here. This is what it is that you have, right? So for this particular one here, so if I select this group here, this is for this one. If I turn it off, everything goes hidden. So if I bring it back on, so we can click on this one here and we just do Lengend, right? Okay, it is time for we to concern ourselves much about this one here. So we bring it to this particular part and we try to match it up with this level. And we do something like this, right? Okay, once we have done something like this, you can just go ahead and change the color you have for this. The color is going to be this color here, right? For the time being, let's go with this color. We can change it later, or you can decide to go for this particular color. Okay, this color will be okay. Now we are going with this particular color for the time being. It is time for we to switch between this very one. When this one shows, we don't want to show this legend. We want this legend to disappear. That is the next thing we have to do next. There are several ways to achieve, bookmarking, showing one chart and making the other chart to disappear. So I'm going to show you one of it. So I have displayed a lot of methods to get it done in my videos. So the very first thing I'm going to do is to go over the bookmark. So we are on the bookmark. Already we have close and open here, and we have country right in here. So I'm going to actually add a new bookmark. Then I am going to call this bookmark, let's call it chat. Then I'm going to add another bookmark again. I will call this bookmark, I'm going to call it heatmap. So here we go. For this one here, I will make sure the data is not active. I will turn off the current page. I'll come over here and select this visual. So that is what you have. So make sure this is what is checked and this one here. You are going to do the same thing to the heat map right here. So it's very simple. If you've not done it before, this would actually open your eye on how to get it done. So right now we have gotten all of this. The next thing now is to bring them in to here. So what I'm going to do now is just to first of all show you what you would get if you don't do the rightful thing. So I will come over here now. I am going to go over to insert and go to here, go to navigation. I'm going to go to bookmark navigator. So this is what I have right now. So we have all of these ones here now. So what we want to show is actually this and this. To get this and this, what we need to do is just to hold our control key to select both of them together and actually right click, then create a group. So once we have gotten this group created, we can rename our group so that we can remember the name of the group. So I can just name it heatmap. So it has been named heatmap, and this is what we have here. So let us go over to this particular format here. Once we are in format, we click on bookmarks. So we scroll down. Instead of all, we choose to see, which one is it? We have country here. It's showing us country. Oh, let us open this particular allow selection. And we have the heat map now showing up. So what happened before? If we deselect this one and we click over here, oh, now it has even appeared. But we need to just some kind of click on allow selection here. and click over here and select your heat map that you created as a group. So once you have it up, come over here now, and this is what you have. You select the heat map. You can choose one, but I'm not going to do this that shows one. What this will do is this. When you click on this, it will bring out chart. If you click it over again, it will hide chart and bring heat map. We don't want such a thing. We can just go over to none. So none will give us chart and heat map. So we can just go ahead and make it a bit smaller. Just like this. So we're going to bring it over to this particular part. So it will be here for the time being. Later after, we can play around with what we have. So now, nothing happens. Even if I hold my control key to select the chart, nothing seems to happen. Nothing is not actually doing anything. You can see this is what you get. All right. So the next thing we have to do right now is to make it functional. And to make it functional now, what we need to do is to go over to where? Let's go over to our selection here. So we're in our selection. The focus now is going to be, what do we want to turn on? Remember, we have titles here. We have the legend here. So we have this particular one. If we click on it right now, it gives us this. So we have to name this one to Weekday charts. So Weekday charts. So we have metrics. So what I'm going to do now is to hold my Weekday charts and my metrics together. Then I create a group between them. Another group. So I'll call this group charts. So I've called these groups charts. So if I turn off everything, nothing is showing up any longer. Okay. The very first thing I'm going to do now is to open this up. Now, this one should be active 247. Then the title, have it opened. For the legend, leave the legend this way. So what I want to have alone now, I want to actually have my metrics active. So I'll click on this one. I'll make sure that chart disappears. Once the chart disappears, for the title, I want to have title for heat map. So I'm going to turn off the title for weekday, turn it off. Now they are gone. So what I will do now is to make sure I hold my control key down, select my legend, select my title, select my chart. So select all the groups you have created together. So once you have done this, we now go over to our bookmark here. So we are now in our bookmark. We can see both of them at the same time. Make sure you don't select here. What you want to do now, you want to update your heat map. Click over this particular 3 dots without selecting this, otherwise your action will be deleted. We have to open up this particular part here. It has been opened. Now we are locating this particular heat map itself. This is the heat map that we have on view. I'm clicking on the 3 dots we have here now. Then I click on update. You get it now. So once I've done that, I will come over here and disallow this one, allow this, without disallowing the whole chart from selection. Get this one turned off, then turn this one on, or turn this one on and turn this one off. What is again? Our title has shown it. So this time around, we are going to turn off the legend totally. Then we turn off our legend. The legend is gone. This is what we want to see right now. So make sure you hold your control key to select the legend as part of it because we have taken it off. So we have selected all our groups. So we go to chart, select the 3 dots, and we click on update. So let us see if this is working for us. So click on this. Can you see? Click on chart. This is what you should actually do. Now everything works perfectly. We can go ahead and go over here. We just have to hide back our bookmark. We don't want to display it again. We can hide our selection. So that is all. So with this now, there is nothing we need to do again than to just come over here and select heatmap, and heatmap appears. Select chart and chart appears. This is all we have to do. We have just gotten everything we need to put together, arranged, right? So the only thing that is left right now, I can just come over here, double click on this and actually break the, this thing that is existing between them, Control C and Control V to paste it. Then come over here and drag this into this particular part here. Then we type the title we want to have for this very one here. Before we move to PowerPoint, we need to take a screenshot of what we have here. So your Windows key and Shift key, then S. So click your Windows key and your Shift key, hold both of them down, then tap on your S and you have something like this. You can take this particular area. Look at what I'm doing. Select it and up to this end. Now it has been saved into your clipboard. You don't need to save it anywhere to actually retrieve it. So let's go over to here. Now, previously we have actually used this and we have used this very one. It is time for we to actually go with this one right now. So what I'm going to do is to Control V to paste in this one here, right? Once we have done that, I will just go ahead and send it to back. I'm going to say send to back. So once we send it to back, this is what we have, right? So I'm going to click over this one and just extend this one like this. You get it? So once we have done this, this is perfectly done. Then I'm going to go ahead and duplicate it and bring this over here for this one, then adjust it. So this time around, I would have to bring this one up, which is this particular format shape here. So for my format shape is up, I'm going to click over here and make sure I'm not seeing any transparency on this one. So, but for this one, the transparency looks perfectly okay for it. We're going to leave it like that. So once we are very much satisfied with what we have right here, so all we have to do is just to go ahead and duplicate it and get it for this very one here. So we stretch it up to this end. So one thing I love to do is to hold my Control key to select both of them or all of them rather. So go over to shape formats, then let's go to align and we distribute horizontally. So we have even equal space here, right? So once we have done that, the next thing now is for we to fix on what is going on here. This particular part should be something like this and just bring this a bit. On this one, let's do this. Okay, so here we go. I think we are almost done. Right. So with this now, we are good to go. We are good to go. So what is next now is just for we to remove what we brought in. We have removed it and it gives us something like this. So if you have not watched how I got this created, you would have to take a look at my other video. And quickly I can show you a sample of what we have done here. It's very simple. New slide. With our new slide here, it gives us something like this. Or still, let me just go ahead and show you with Control N to open a new one. We are here. You can just take this one off. And once you have done that, you go to something like design. From design, you search for something like this. This is what we have used. And we are using this one that has the full screen. Go to design. And you select this one. There are several ones you can actually select from here to be used. So it depends on what you are looking forward to actually doing. So this is what we have done. Then you lay the remaining cards on it. So let's go ahead and delete this one. Don't save, please. So here we go. We are going to go with this very one right here. So to get this one into Power BI, go to File and go to Export. From Export, go to Change File Type. And we select just maybe, let's go with JPG. So we have saved it. We have to go back to Power BI. We are right here. You make sure you don't select any charts. Click on Canvas background, and now you actually click on this particular browse. Let's go ahead and pick it up. So we are right here. We can just go with this one. Now, this is what we have. You see that? So some of those ones here, they have background on them. We have to make sure we turn the background we have right on them off. So go over to here and turn off your background from here, right? So let's go to heatmap now. So once heatmap comes up, we have the background again. Double click to make sure you break this thing between them, the group between them. Then you scroll down and you turn off this. This is looking very beautiful already. So you click on this particular one here. So this is what it is. This is what it is that we have. So bring this down a little bit. If we go back here now, so you can see this is destroying our work, but nevertheless, we can actually fix this. So all I'm going to do is just to click over here and copy this, then copy this very one from here. So Ctrl C, and I will go all the way back to this particular part. Then have it pasted over here. So I don't know what this one is looking for. We can just go ahead and delete this, remove it. Okay, if you look at it now, this is what we have right now. So for this particular part to disappear, all we have to do, we have to go back to view and we'll return it back to something like this particular accessibility here. And now we just go ahead and do 0%. So that white has been gone. If we click over to the customer part right here, we don't have it any longer. Can you see it now? We have gotten it fixed. That is exactly what you should do. But unfortunately, it's actually affecting the colors we have right here. So we have to quickly fix those colors. So now we are going to actually add a slicer. As you can see, we have a provision for slicer here and as well the navigation to the other three dashboards. That is exactly what we need to add right now. We want to apply some couple of slicers. We can't apply all the slicers right here because we have here filter by year. So before we go into this, let us have a hidden slicer right in. So to get that done now, we have to agree on which particular slicer or filter we want to actually have in here. So I would love to use the newer version, which is the new version of the slicer we just have of recent. So let's go with this very one here. So with this one here right now, what I want to have inside it is actually country. So I can click over here and bring in my country by searching. So country. So here we have the country in here. So this is how it looks, but this is not what we actually want to see. So we can go over here and change the look of things right now. So let's go to this particular layout. And from layout, you can decide to use just one single column that looks like this, right? So once you have this, you can see if I just click on go down now, we have more to show up. So let's see what we can do. So this tool will look perfectly okay. I think I can go with this particular tool. This is better without we having any scroll. We are going to go with this. So the next thing I'm going to do right now is to go all the way back up again and turn off the title because I would love to type it all by myself. Then I can actually have control over it. So you can make it as small as you want without you having that scroll. So right now, if I click to Canada, it only filters data from Canada for me. So the next one I'm going to do right is actually me adding for gender. So quickly, all I'm going to do now is just to go ahead and copy and paste this very one. So I'm going to move this one here. So don't worry on what you see. So let us just click on this. And over here, we go for the gender instead. So we have something like this. On this gender zone, let's scroll down. And we can use 1 This is perfectly done. So you can just make it this way. So we have gotten all of this here. We need to add one more. So Ctrl V to paste it. So you drag this one in here. This time around, we are actually trying to add for, not for year, but we want to add for seller. I think, let me just go over to here. And right now in this customer's country, I'm going to deselect it. Okay, the next thing right now is for we to go into our fact table. So we have what we call buyer type. So click on the buyer type. So it's either the buyer is a seller or is actually a user. So this is what we want to have. So on this one, I'm going to keep it somewhere around here. All right, so we have gotten all the slicers we want to actually apply to our data. So the next thing now is for we to see how to organize all the slicers. The very first thing I'm going to do is this. Those two slicers here will be hidden. I don't want to show them, right? So I'm going to go to insert here. So from insert, I have this particular place where it says button. So I will get this particular blank button here. So with the blank button, I'm going to put it over this one and I'll resize it to fit and cover all of this. So if I step off from this blank this thing here, it has border around it. So I'm going to click on it and go to button here. Then at default, I want to go down and turn off the border. Then everything here should be turned off. So if you look at it, there is nothing here. So you can't tell if something is here or not. So I'm going to click on it here again. Then let's go back to this particular part. At default, you scroll down and go to the text. So open up the text and actually click on. So we just type in here, close. So with the close typed in, it's not showing up very well right now. So we want to scroll down and go ahead and show up the close on white. So we have to increase the close like this. This is what it is. So I want, if somebody hovers, I want to have an effect on it. Like, let's go over to on hover. So you change the state of the button right now. Instead of default, we change it to on hover. So on hover now, if you scroll down, I would love to change the font to this kind of font here, the bolder one. So on hover, you can see it's actually doing some kind of changes, right? So I will go back to the default again. So to the default, I would increase this. Okay. So I still have this effect on it. The next thing I'm going to do right now is to Ctrl C and Ctrl V to paste it. So which means I have second one or the second version now. So this one here, I would have to be on default. Please don't select any other state, just be on default. Then you go and scroll all the way down to the text area and you actually click on this and type in open. So now you have open and you have closed. That is exactly what you should have here. So nobody can tell what opens here means. What if I actually type in here open filter? Okay, I'll put it on top of this one here. This is where it is going to be. So this time around, it's not making any sense yet, but don't worry, it will definitely make a sense. So the next thing I'm going to do right now is just for me to some kind of select both of them and so to check what I have actually selected now, I will go over this plus here. So you'll see where it says bookmark. So we're going to turn on our bookmark. So we're going to turn on our selection. We need selection must now. So let's go to the bookmark. This is the bookmark, the previous bookmark we've had. So now we're going to look at this very one here. So if you look at it, the buttons are selected. All I need to do now is just to make sure I right click and have them grouped together. So I'll click on the group. So they have been grouped. I'll double click over here and I will type in, let's do open, close, btn. All right, that is the name. So once I've done that now, I can turn off this one. So the one that is active right now is closed. I am going to double click on this one and type into it close to identify that button. So for this next one here, this is the open. So I'm going to type in here open like this. So once I'm done, I'm good to go. All I need to do is just to remember this very one here, right? So the next thing is for me to go to insert and go to this particular shape. This one that says shapes. So click on shapes and you bring up a particular shape right here. So you have different choices that you can make. So let's go with something, maybe this, I don't know. So I'm going to try to see if this one could actually work. So the rounded corner is what I'm concerned about. So let's see if we can control the rounded corner. So let's go over to the settings here and the rounded corner. Okay, the top rounded corner can be controlled. So I don't want to have much of it. I'm going to do it just this way. And I will just make it smaller, then bring it all the way down like this. So once I have gotten this down, the next thing is for me to fit this one into it and see how it goes. So I'll just move it over here. I want to have a space at the top that would carry the title for me. So once I've gotten this done, I would love to do this and stretch this out. Stretch this out. So my both United States should show up, and they did show up. I'll click on this one. I will do this. So if you look at it, it has sent my slides out to be behind this. So what I'm going to do right now is just to make sure I come like this and click on my slicer. Once I've done that, go to format right here. Then from format, you click on this particular bring or send backward. Now we are using the bring to front. Then I'm going to do the same thing to this one, even if I've not actually laid right there. So I'll bring this to front. Then with that, we can drag this into here. And now we can just make this adjustment. Okay, on this one, because I don't want it to occupy too much space, what if I use the older version of slicers? So I will click over here, then make a different choice. So let's go over to this type of slicer here. So perfectly done. I would go with something like this. This one wouldn't occupy much space. So let's do this. I am going to bring this down. Okay, if I want to use this particular name I have, like gender, I would come over to this particular slicer header here. So I'll just say filter by. That is it. So I'm going to do the same thing over here. I will go over to this particular title. Then click over here. It will be filter by country. So hope you get this. Right, previously I've shown you how to actually change the color of this. I wouldn't go through it over and over again. I'm just going to show you how to have it hidden and reveal it whenever you need to do that. So for that, all that one, you can do it all by yourself. So all I'm going to do right now is just to make sure I have this fixed right here. I can just stretch this to fit in. Then hold my control key to select this and have this selected. Once I have done that, they are all selected right now. We can now go to this particular selection here and we'll find them in here. So don't deselect it, right click and group, then step into this group here. So click on it and go over here and just type in all slicers. So if you look at it now, we have two things going on here. If I close this particular all slicer now, everything goes. If I open it, it actually comes back. The same thing happens to open, close btn right here. So this is the first set of things we need to actually get started with what we want to do. to hide and reveal it back again. This is what you need to do. So let's see, here we have selection and here we have format. So I'm going to hide this format. Instead, I'm going to turn on my bookmark and my selection app. So the very first thing I'm going to do now is to identify all slices here. And I'm going to have all slices clicked on. I'll turn it off for the first time. So it has been turned off. When all slices are hidden, what I want to see is actually open. So I'm going to have this particular close as well hidden. So we can now see we have open filter, right? So for it to work now, you have to select the group. Look at it. The group of my open close btn is selected. I am going to hold my control key, then select all slices. Please pay attention right here. This is what you need to do. Select the groups. Once you have done that, go over to this particular ad here. You click on the ad and you come over here and this one should be close. This is your close. Then it will be close. Already I have a close here. I'm going to name this one to be close slicers. So once I've done this, I'm going to come over here now. Data, I'm going to deselect it. Current page now, I will click on this one. Then the next thing again, you can see checked is this particular one here. I've checked this one and this one is checked. Then I'm going to click on update. So once this one is done, I will come over here now and have this particular one revealed, then hide the open. So I now have close. For that, I would love to bring up my slicers. So once I've done this, make sure both of the groups are selected as well. Then you click on add again. So on this one, it is going to be open slices. All right, go over here, deselect this or uncheck. So make sure you have this selected visual checked, then go over here and click on update. Let's see if this worked. 100%. You can see it has worked 100%. So what I will do now, I don't need this again. I am going to click over here, then just go down to where you can see all of them, have this closed. All right. Going to the format, I would make sure I double click on this one to actually ungroup it temporarily. So once you have double clicked, and here you should be expecting to see action. If you have seen action, then go ahead and turn on the action, then go over here, you choose bookmark. So once you have chosen the bookmark, you scroll and you go to none. From none, we are looking for open. So we'll look for open. I think in the list we should have open. So this is actually open slicer, which is what we want. To test if this works is for we to just hold our control key and it shows up. So if I do the same thing now, nothing happens because I have not given it any action. So I'm going to double click on it. So here, turn on this, go to bookmark. So once you have the bookmark here, you have to go to none and you choose the close. That is all you need to do. Just do something like this. You get it? This is how you can actually build this particular part. So every single time you click over here and it comes up, you can actually apply a filter, select the gender you want to select, like the male gender right now. You select it. So once you have done that, then you can just go over here and have it hidden. And your filter is being prevented. So that is exactly what you need to do. The next one is for you to actually work on this particular one right here, which I presume any one of you could actually do. Is something very simple and easy to do. It's not at all in any way complicated. So you can just try as much as you could to make sure it matches the background we have right here. So right now we have the user, we have this. So all right, we're back here for we to create some icons for our navigation. Over here, I have those 3 icons, which we're going to use. I'm just going to copy. Then if I come over here now, I can paste it and adjust this. So I'm going to bring this over here. Then I'm going to make sure this one settles down here. I can hold my control now to copy and come over here. I'll paste it in here. So you might be wondering, how did you get those icons? So you can get icons from Insert. Then you go over here to Icons and you have some couple of icons from here. In case you couldn't find any icon that actually matches what you're thinking or what you want to actually achieve, you go to flaticon.com. So I have actually used it several times. If you are not a newbie to my channel, you would have known what I'm talking about. Okay, that is done. Let us look at how we can actually use this to achieve our navigation. So the next thing now is to go ahead and actually get this into, I'll just export it and take it to Power BI. Before we create the navigation, let us try to update this very one here. So I am going to pick it up from where it is. So updated, we now have this one with the new icon. So let's go over here and have this one updated as well. So we have them with icons. This one, this icon depicts people, right? Then we are trying to say this is the customer. This one here would actually go for this very one. And if you come over here, okay, this very one here, rather, this very one here is actually brighter than any of these ones you have right here. So to actually come into this particular part right now, we need to come over here and some kind of identify which one is bright. This one is bright. So for that, this one is for customer. Then this one here is actually going for the time series analysis that we have actually done right here. Okay, let's say we want to jump into this particular page right now. What do we do? Very simple and easy. Go over to Insert. From Insert, you have this particular button here. So you click on the button and you click on this particular one that says blank. So we choose the blank button. So we bring it all over here and make sure you cover every part of this like this. So don't forget that if I deselect it right now, it's going to give me some border around it. So we have to take off the border first. We make it some kind of a little bit invisible. So now to take off the border, go to button style and you scroll down, leave the state at default, scroll down and you go to, I think icon is even optional. So it's the border I want to take off. I take off the border. So once I have done that, I'm going to copy, Ctrl+C to copy. I have copied this right now. But before we do any other thing, let us rename this particular one to trend. So I have renamed it to trend. I don't know why trend 1. Okay, now we have this now as trend. So we go over here now. Don't forget that I have copied this particular one from here. You have to make sure you Ctrl+C to copy it. So if I click on it right now, I would go over to action again. Then I'll go to action, open it up. If you open up this place, it's going to ask you, what do you want to do? So I want to use page navigation. So if I click on page navigation, I will choose which page I want to navigate to when the button is being clicked. So the destination is here. So I want to go to trend. So because we are not actually on Power BI service, for this to work now, you would have to hold your control key down, then you click, and it's going to land you here. So we are here. I will do Ctrl+V to paste this one. Then I will shift it to move to customer. Then I'm going to put this around here. Then we go to action, turn the action on, go over here, tell it what you want, page navigation. Then let's scroll all the way down. Here we have destination. We want to go to customer. So we do this. So if I just go ahead and hold my control key and click right now, it's going to push us back to the customer dashboard. This is how you can create such navigation. Very simple and easy. Let us add a custom tooltip to this very one we have right here. Like if I hover over this right now, what it gives me is just the revenue for this particular, country, Germany. So I want to see the top 3 drugs that we sell most in this particular country. The same thing if I hover over on this particular age group. So I want to see what are the top 3 drugs that they buy and how much they've spent on it and stuff like that. So this is a kind of a bit technical. So we are going to use the same tooltip that we use over here for this one. And you can see it's not actually the same categorical value. So here we have age group in different table, and right here we have country, right? Okay, how do we do that? Let's find out. So the first thing you're going to do is to click on this particular plus and add a new page. Once you have done this, next for you to get done is just for you to click over here and you go into the formatting. Click on the canvas setting right here. And okay, before this, let's go to the page. Under the page, we are using the standard page, then we can convert this to Tooltip. So go ahead and close this, then click on the canvas settings, right? So our Tooltip is this. I will actually take it from the top to the middle, although it's optional. If you like, you can leave it with the previous one. So once we have done this, the next thing now is to click on the type here, which is the custom. So we want to resize this. So for the height, what we want to get for the height is 300 pixel. So I'm going to do 300. That is beautiful. Then for the weight right now, we go with 250. So 250. Oh, I'm using 260. Then 250 would look perfectly okay. So previously, before now, I have already built the template or the background I'm going to use. Let me show you what it is. So over here, we have this built. You can see if I remove this now, you can see what I've actually put together to actually have this created. So it's very simple. All you have to do, if I do Control N right now, we are in Control N. I can take off everything from here. Then I go to, I think it's gonna be under, let's see. Yeah, under design. Under design, we check this particular size and we go to custom. So from custom, we can actually go with this portrait here. Then we just use ensure fit. Then it gives you this. You can go ahead and design how you want it to be. So I already have it. I don't have to go through it again. You can see what I've done right here. You can see this one. I put shapes together to actually have this done. So try to be creative to actually get something like this done exactly the way I did it right here, until you have something just like this. So being creative is everything when it comes to the art part of Power BI. So the science part is for you to create and measure and clean and transform your data, but the art part has to do with you bringing those cards, those things together to create one thing. Okay, we are back here now. The next thing we have to do is to go to the canvas background here, and we are going to go ahead and pick this. So we have it. We just have to make sure we put this on 0%. Then we're going to have this. Let us do fit. All right. This is the first thing you have to do to get started. We have just gotten the area set up and we have the background right in here. What is next? To get started again now, we have to actually bring in here a chart. Let us go with this kind of chart here. So it's in here right now. So we're going to go ahead and turn on our data. Then quickly we search for total revenue. We bring in our total revenue in here. Then next is for we to bring in the drug name. So we can type in name. So with the name here, we have the drug name from the drug table. So we bring it in here. So we have lots of drugs, and you can see if I scroll, you can see we have lists of drugs inside here. So we don't want to show all of them because it wouldn't make any damn sense. All we have to do right now is for we to go ahead and actually have this filter opened. Once we have this filter opened, already we have this particular all page filter, which is 2022 and 2023. So I'm going to click on my visual. I want to get a visual filter right now. For the visual filter, I am going to go to my drug and open this particular drop down here. Then instead of me to choose basic filtering, I'm going to choose top in right here. Then I just want to select the top 3 drugs, right? So with that, now we have to bring in our revenue again. So total revenue should be brought into this box here. Then once we have done that, we click on apply. So we have just gotten the top 3, but it's not looking in any way beautiful. What can we do to make it look okay? All right, the very first thing I'm going to do is just to get this one collapsed, and we turn off this. We bring this up right here. Then for the y-axis rather, we scroll all the way down. We turn off the title, right? So it's okay. Not bad at all. But one thing is this, no matter how we try to stretch it and cover everywhere, so this particular part still doesn't show everything. So what we're going to do, from 25, we take it to the max of 50, and that will definitely reveal everything for us, right? Okay. Once we have done that, the next thing is for we to scroll back up again. Then let us go to the x-axis right here. For the x-axis, we are going to turn off every single thing, both the values and as well the title should be turned off. So now we have a clean, chart. Okay, for the title, we have to make it dynamic. I'm going to turn off the title away from here. Then we can actually bring it down like this. Okay, so once we have it this way, the next thing is for we to click on this particular size and style. Then we go over to the background. So we have to remove the background from here. Okay, it's not making it look beautiful, so we have to actually touch the color. Let's do this. Okay, next is for we to go to the bars. Under the bars, we click on the color. So on the color, we choose the color that will definitely match our background on the tooltip. So let's see what this would look like. Oh, it looks a little bit okay, but not really cool. So I want something that complements the color I have right here. I'm going to go with this one. So this looks cool. And if I go ahead now and turn on the data labels, let's see what it's going to look like. This should be turned off because, so data label. Okay, the data label seems to look very okay, but it's not showing up well. And I don't want it to look like this. I want to have the full figure. So I open it up and I scroll down. So I go to the value area for the first time. I want to come right here and just make sure it's inside and like this. Then under the value here, we want to go to the value and we just disallow auto and we use none. Something like this would be cool. Then once we have done that, we change the color to black or something like this. Then this appears very well right now. So we can decide to actually crank it up a little bit. If you want that, you can do it. But for now, I think I'm cool with this. Okay, what is next? We need to touch the y-axis. We scroll all the way back up and here we got it. So we change the color to actually reflect a lot, something like this. Okay, this is cool. I'm going to name this one Tooltip. So my tooltip is ready. Let's go to the customer table right now. So under the customer table, I can come over here and click on this particular chart and I would look for where I have my tooltip writing. So if you look at it, we cannot find anything that has to do with the tooltip that we can actually activate. Why? That was because we have under chart that we actually group it together with. So don't forget that, double click on it to actually, release it from the group. So once you double click it, if it activates and only activates for this particular current chart we are seeing that is visible, all of this would actually pop out. If you have done that, then let us go over to here under properties and you have the tooltips right here. You click on it and we go over to this particular report page, not the default one. So because it actually figured it out now that we have a tooltip sitting somewhere, so we have this, click over here and choose the tooltip. Remember, this tooltip is not default, it's the one we created. Let us go ahead and change the name. You will see when we go back, tooltip for age and country, right? So we go back now. So I double click on it to make sure I activate it. We go back here. So you will click on the tooltips. You can see tooltip, age, and country. So if I hover over it now, what it should be giving me is, let me deselect from edit mode. Now, if I hover over here now, it's giving me this. If I click on this now, it changes, right? So I want to do the same thing to this very one right here before we finally do something that actually is something you are not even thinking about. So let's do this again. We click over here, we choose this, and now if I hover over this one, this is what we have. So right now it's not making a holistic sense to have something like this that will show us something like this, and we don't know what it is that we are seeing, right? So what are we supposed to do instead? Let's get back here. So now we are here. What we want to do now is to actually make sure whenever we hover on the country, we want to see the drug by the country name. Whenever we hover on the top three, I'm talking about this one here. Let's go over here. So without hovering, this very long one here shows Canada, right? So this very one shows Australia. This one shows Germany. If I hover over it, I want to see Germany. If I go to United Kingdom, I want to see United Kingdom. If I hover over on this one, I want to see 50 plus, and over here, I want to see 31 to 40 of age group. That is what I want. So to get something like this is not all about you just typing it and it will reflect. You have to write it DAX for it. So let's get back to this particular part right now. So we are back here. What do we do next? Next now is for you to actually go over to where we have our measure right in. So we go to this part here, right click, and we create a new measure. All right, on this new measure here, I believe some persons would have known what function could be used to actually get that done right now. So in case you don't know, you want to stay tuned for me to show you everything. So I would call it active country equals. Okay, for the active country, the very first thing I'm going to do is to create a variable to store in my country and store in my age group, and I will actually start switching between two of them. So I will do underscore country is equals selected value. So country here, I'm going to close it. So already I have stored in my country into the underscore country here. Then I'll do another one. This one will be underscore age group equals. So selected value, age group. So I have stored in the age group right in here as well. Okay, what is next right now is for we to actually return this. So I will do return. Under my return here, I'm going to use the if to check this. So I'm going to say if underscore active country here is equals blank, then what I want is to see underscore age group. Otherwise, give me underscore country, which means country is not blank right now. Then we go ahead and have this closed. This is all we have to do, and we hit our enter key. So once we have done this, we are good to go, but we can't just bring this in. But I think, okay, let us just bring it in raw and we'll look at it if it does make sense to have something like that. So now it's showing us blank. Does this mean that what we have done is just in vain? It's not working? No, it is working. But I'm going to show you why. So let's go over to this particular part here and put it at 20. Perfectly done. Then we are going to take off this one away from here. So now we go back to customers. So we're back to customers. Look at France. If I select France right now, it's giving me France. If I go to United States, if I go to United Kingdom. So if I now come over here now and select this particular one here, it's giving me 50 plus, and now I'm having 31 to 40, but it does not really make any sense. Let's go ahead and apply something to it. So I'm going to get this one deleted from here. I don't need to have it. Instead, I'm going to actually add a text box and type it inside. Oh, somebody will be asking, you know you're going to type it inside. Why would you allow us to do it the way we did it and create a measure for it? Why don't you just go ahead and type it in? No, I'm sorry. That is not how it goes. Oh, what the heck is it? I want to move this. It's got to be moved. Okay, finally I've moved it. I will actually do it this way. Take your time to get this done. Okay, now we have what we want. Keep it right here and adjust it to the end of this particular part. Then we bring this down. This is what we have. Okay, once we have gotten this, I'm going to type in here, total revenue in. All right. So we have gotten to the part where we have to make dynamic. So what do? We click on this particular value. And if you remember vividly, I had been doing this over and over again from my previous videos. So over here, I'm going to type in active. Active country. I typed active country. Okay, I think I should have been very descriptive because this is not just the country. It's active country and age group. So now it appears here, active country. So once I've done this, I'm going to click on OK. So we wouldn't see anything that make a lot of sense right now. So what I'm going to do is just for me to actually Control A and we centralize it inside it. So once we have done that, we just locate something like 12 would look very good. Okay. So if 12 looks good, I'm going to select this one, hold my shift key so to select just this one here. I'm going to bold it, and I think that is it. Bold it. So once you have bolded, what I'll do now is just for me to some kind of think, should I add a white background to it or I should remove it? What should I do? Okay, I'm going to remove this particular background I have on it. So let's go over here and turn off the background. So once we have done that, this color will not be some kind of valid any longer. So we have to Control A and come over here and select a white background for it. So this time around, we should have something like this. Let us go ahead and test it out and see. Okay, if I hover over here right now, you can see total revenue in France, total revenue in the United States, and well, let's go here, total revenue in 51 plus in 31 to, then this is not making holistic sense. So we'll have to add one more thing that will definitely tell people what 31 to 40 is actually all about. So let's do that. So we are back here right now. All we have to do is to recycle through this very one here. I would copy this and create a new measure. So I'm going to paste this one here. So under the return, instead of me to return all of this just like I have right now, I am going to take this particular part here off. So once I've done that, I would like, if this is the case, I want you to give me revenue by age group. Otherwise, give me revenue by country. Okay. So we go ahead and close this then. Oh, sorry, we're going to have an error. So I will do title active country and age group in the short form. Sorry, I just have to do something crazy to make sure I remember what I'm doing. Okay, we have this in here. What if I go ahead and copy this very one here? I will actually aim at the edge. If you want to copy, aim at the edge. So make sure your cursor is not blinking. Ctrl-C, Ctrl-V to paste it. So the pasted one should be moved up here. It's going to be here. So once we have it in, oh, sorry, this is not a card. We can't copy it. It's actually a text box. So all I'm going to use right now is going to be a card. So card should be used. I'm going to get in this particular single card here. So with the single card, we are going to go with our active title in here. So the active title is this. So we just make sure we take it up and we adjust it until it fits what we want to have. So here we go. Then we actually turn off the category label and we come over here. Let us put this at something like 20, for example. So 20 seems to look perfectly okay. I'm gonna use like 18. Then this is cool. I love 18. Then let's go over to here and quickly turn off the background away from it. So once we have done this, we can just adjust this to fit into the color here. And we have to go ahead and make sure we are using something white like this. Then this is what it is. So let us now go back here and see what is happening. Okay, if I hover over this right now, it tells me revenue by age group, total revenue in 14 by whatever. So even this particular total revenue in whatever, you can actually do it and make it dynamic and even make sure the English look more rhyme. So I'm going to leave you with this. You can adjust it based on what you want. So that the same thing happens if I actually hover over here. You can see what I have right now, right? Okay, the final touch we're going to do right away is to actually show how much revenue is generated, because when we hover, we can't tell by looking at the bars here how much we have made, but the moment we hover over it, it covers it. We can't really tell holistically how much we have made aside from the top 3 countries, right? Let's get back. So we are here right now. We have to do something like that. So I want to do revenue. I already have my revenue. So what I will do now is just to copy this particular one here. So I'm going to copy it and paste it, right? So I will take the copied one. I'll move it up here. I'll click on everything. I'll convert it to black. Let's go with this kind of color. So if I step out now, this is what I have. This particular eye icon, click on it. So instead of us to be looking at active country, instead we're going to actually select revenue. So here we have revenue, total revenue, yeah, total revenue in. So I will just do this. You get it right now? So instead of me to use in here, I'll put is. So I'm going to do Ctrl A to make sure I centralize everything. So total revenue is. So I think finally we are done from here. Let's get back to this particular place. We have actually done everything. And this is exactly what it is. So if I hover over this right now, it's giving me total revenue is this. So total revenue by country, we have the holistic total revenue, and we now have the individual revenue for the top 3 selling drugs in this particular country, United States. The same thing happens if I actually hover over here. You can see how crazy this is. It's all about you thinking outside the box. So if you think this has actually added a lot of values to you, all you have to do is just for you to kind of like this video. Yeah, share and leave a comment by saying thank you. All right, everyone, we're just done with this, and this is the final part. So see you in my new uploads.